everybody, Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity. And if you've been following Boomerocity for a couple of years now, you may remember about a year and a half ago, had a fun chat with Doug Aldrich of the Dead Daisies. He's also been with Whitesnake and a whole bunch of other people, and a lot of fun to talk to. We talked at that time about the new best of album of the Dead Daisies. And then they came out with another album after that called Light 'Em Up. And we've got a new single from that album that just has been released in the last day or so. And so I got to talk to Doug again about that song, about that album, and even some heads up on something new and exciting. Some great news there for Dead Daisies fans. So please, if you would, as you're listening to this, hit like. If you're not already a subscriber, it's free. So hit subscribe. That helps us out a lot. And please share this with other rock and roll fans because this album, Light 'Em Up, is a phenomenal rock and roll album. And the new single from it, Love That Will Never Be. I almost screwed that up. Love That Will Never Be. Phenomenal song. I think you're going to love it all, and you're going to love the guys in the band. So check it all out. So until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care.
Randy,
Hello, Doug. How you
hey
doing?
man, I'm good. Do you like the picture like this, or do you want me to go like this?
I prefer that way right there. That would be better.
Okay, wait, I lost you.
Oh, I'm here. Can you hear me?
There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we
All
go.
right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Where are you clicking in from?
I'm in LA.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I know you've answered the question a million times, but how close did the fires get to you?
Not too bad. It was they came within about 5 miles, something like that. It looked a lot closer. There was one day when they were kind of peeking over the top of the mountains and headed trying to head this way, but it looked closer than it was. It wasn't, we weren't in danger. But that said, I mean, when you look at the way that neighborhoods are, it could have happened anywhere. If a fire started and those winds at the right time pushed it, I mean, it was just jumping from house to house. But it's horrible for people when they go through catastrophes of, the stuff that happened in North Carolina, and
Hmm.
and then always there's these floods that happen every year from different things. But yeah, fires are scary, man. It happens so fast. A lot of people didn't have time to. I mean, basically, just grab. It was just grab what you can and run.
Grab and
Basically.
go. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Well, it's been about a year and a half since we last spoke, and when we spoke then, you guys had the Best of album coming out. How'd that do for you guys?
Best of was a couple years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was good. It served its purpose. People wanted to. Um, People always like those best ofs because it has. Well, that one had some different tracks on it, and people like it because it just gives them a different taste and a different track listing to play to. Served its purpose because we're looking to tour. That's what you do now. You put out an album when you want to tour.
Yep. Yep. Something to pitch to. So I think we got a little bit of a signal problem, Doug. I'm not sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I
Okay.
got you.
All right. I think there's a little latency there. Um,
Yeah,
have you
maybe.
It's this technology, I swear. So between that then and now, you had another album, Light 'Em Up. Talk to me about it. I mean, I love the new single. Uh,
Thanks.
how'd that all
Thank you.
come together? How long did it take you guys to put it together and that kind of thing?
Well, it came together very organically, naturally, because we didn't plan on making, we wanted to tour. We put that best of out as we talked about, and John came back to tour and promote that album. And so we did the tour, and at the end of 2023, we were kind of like, well, maybe we'll get together and and work on a song or two. And that just everyone kind of sent in some ideas for starting points, and we decided, well, let's meet up in Nashville and we'll just write. And one thing led to another. We wrote songs in Nashville and also in Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
Oh,
And
how cool.
man, we just got on a roll, you know. So it kind of just came together really fast. Um, like I said, we all had individual ideas that we all kind of put in the pot, and then Marty Fredrickson, our producer, would go, "Ah, I really, was kind of listening to the songs, and that one really kind of stuck out to me. Pretty cool." So, um, so we'd work on it, and we'd do a demo in the studio, playing live together, and
Mhm.
we move on, So we So that's how Light 'Em Up started. It was just really natural. And the title track came about with that riff, and we wrote that together. A bunch of other songs we wrote together, and then there were a couple songs that we individually brought in. Michael Devin brought in a really killer track called "My Way or the Highway."
Mhm.
John brought in a couple of tracks, and one of them is the single that you're talking about, which is "Love That Will Never Be." He had he had a demo of that him and Marty Fredrickson had written, and it was treated. The treatment of the production in the song was beautiful. It was like more
Mhm.
acoustic with strings, and almost had like an Elton John vibe to it with the
Yeah,
strings. It was really really cool. And we just kind of came up with a little bit more of a rock treatment for it that was suited for the album, and decided, it was on like the last minute whether or not we were going to do it, and whether we needed it. But I think it really is great for the album, and people seem to like the single a lot. So we're really happy that
Yeah,
we did it. Yeah.
for sure. How does that translate to the stage when you guys do it? Have you been able to play it live any at all on that one?
No, we have not, but I know it'll translate great.
Oh
It'll
yeah.
be awesome to do. At this point, we hadn't really talked about. It kind of just came out. It's kind of been, thanks to you guys, it's been blown up. And
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
we're really we're really kind of shocked, not shocked, but it's like we're happy about it, but we're a little caught off guard. So okay, we're gonna have to learn it, again, and play it like we did in the studio, and it'll be
But
great.
was it based on a true story? Because it's pretty brutal on the woman. It's just like she kind of screwed up a good thing or something. Uh,
That
Are you?
stuff it does happen. I think that John would be the one to go deeper into the lyrics, but I mean, it's we put it out on Valentine's Day, and it's like a reverse love song almost, because it's like a breakup song.
Yeah,
It's
for
just like,
sure.
uh, you know, there's been everyone's gone through these situations where it's just like, you try your hardest to make a relationship go, and it is just not working. So
Yeah,
love that will
yeah,
never
it
be.
happens. That's right.
Yeah.
Back to the album as a whole, where they're in putting it together, and you talked a little bit already about how the album came together. What kind of surprises did you guys run into in doing that? I mean, all of you guys are seasoned pros on
There
making
was
albums and such. Yeah.
the biggest surprise was how fast it came together. We didn't, like I said, we didn't plan it. It just happened. And like there was a song that, well, like everyone, like I said, I brought in some stuff, and there was a song that I brought in that was a weird kind of a descending. My influence of this was kind of like Crying in the Rain meets Dazed and Confused. And I didn't know if that would be something that we would need or want, but it was just an idea that I had, and a riff, um, and a couple of chords to go with it as a resolve after the riff. And Marty, I just stuck it in the pile, and Marty came back one day and goes, "Man, I really like that one riff." And I was like, "Oh wow, really?" He goes, "Yeah, but I changed it. I put, instead of it, I originally had it as the old blues technique of call and response. You sing
Hmm.
like Still of the Night, hey mom, not, no, I'm confusing it with Black Dog. Hey mom, I see the way you move, gonna make
Yeah.
you sweat, gonna make you groove. Da, da, da,
And
da, da,
then
da,
it,
da.
yeah.
So I envisioned the song like that, where it was like a really dark, moody vocal, and then the riff would come in. It's called Back to Zero. And so Marty goes, I made that the chorus instead of it being just the riff. I was like, how? Because it's so weird. It's like chromatically descending. And he
Mhm.
sang it to me, and it was like, whoa, that really surprised me. And then another one that I can speak of was I know John pretty well. We grew up together, and then we've been friends since then. And then being in the Daisies together for now 9 years, um,
Wow.
I was like, I want to present something for John. That's kind of what I do is present ideas to whoever the singer is in whatever band I'm working in at that time. So I'm pretty sure what John likes and doesn't like, and again, I didn't know what we needed, but it was kind of an Aerosmithy vibe. I was kind of going off of Mama Can, and it turned into the song "Way Back Home"
Mm.
that um, John just made it. John and Marty Frederiksen just made it come alive. And I was listening to the record the other day because I hadn't heard it for a while, and that song popped out. It was like I forgot about it, and it's really cool. It's really a catchy song, "Way Back Home." But then we got our singles on there, like uh, "Light 'Em Up" and "I Want to Be Your Bitch." I think was a single, very simple David Lowie riff. But yeah, it was a surprise how fast it all came together.
When you've worked on a lot of albums and you've seen the technology change on how an album can come together,
Yeah.
if, I mean, just a little. What and I'm not a musician, don't even play one on TV, but there's this, I imagine that for you guys that really make the stuff we love to hear, there's got to be times when you're in the studio today and you think, man, this is so cool. I wish we had this, umpteen years ago. Or is there something that you missed from umpteen years ago that's no longer available now in the studio? Is there what kind of, is there anything like that that goes on in your mind when you're working on stuff today?
You can always say there's a couple of things that make life a lot easier these days. It's like if you we weren't so back persnickety is an old so um, anal about 80s and even in the 90s, and you hear stuff sometimes from back then that's like, yeah, it's a little pitchy. Even hit songs like it might be a hit song that was on the radio, and it's like you hear it now and you're like, whoa, that's a little, it might have been a Paul Rogers, might have been Sheryl Crow, whoever's. It could have been a little pitchy.
Mhm.
So it would
Mhm.
have been cool to have, it's a great vocal, whatever it was. Don't make him re-sing it. It's got the vibe, but maybe we could just fine tune it a little bit right here in that one spot. If you're going to get picky or persnickety or anal, whatever. But that's one of the only technologies that I would say that back then, aside from the little recorder that's in our phone, because I can't tell you how many batteries I spent on those cassette recorders to capture ideas. And a lot of times I wouldn't have it with me, and there'd be musical ideas that you'd forget about. Now with the iPhone, you just record anything that you think of because you always got your phone with you
Right.
nowadays, and that can turn into a song very easily. And a lot of people write that way. They just write on the phone. They can edit it and put parts, change parts. But as far as the technology the stuff that we don't do now is we don't use 2-inch tape anymore very much. Some high-end budget recordings, like they'll record into Pro Tools and they'll bounce it to tape, or they'll record
Right.
through tape into Pro Tools, so you get that tape compression. But there's nothing like a tape session, like You would start off with this 2-inch tape. You record the drums, and you would get a tape. You'd have on one reel of tape. You'd have three. You could have three performances of the song because it was like 15 minutes of tape on one of those reels. So you got three chances. If you got a good one, you keep it. Maybe you'd go over the second one. You'd race over it, the second one. And the third one, let's try it again. Let's try and beat the best. Nah, still number two is the best. Okay, good. So after you get all these performances of the various songs, say you got three performances for each song, you got 10 songs. That means you got 10 tapes that you got to cut that each one of those best performances and stick those all on one reel. So you got the best performances on one reel, or actually it would be like 3 reels or 4 reels because you got 3 songs per reel. You got those are called your master reels. Then
Mm-hmm.
you take those master reels and you start doing overdubs to the drums. You'd start putting, or maybe you got the bass and the rhythm guitars on there already. Maybe you kept it, but
Mm-hmm.
now you got to go in and fix the mistakes. You got to punch in with the machine and okay, we're gonna just get that one chord right there. Play along. That's it. Now we got the guitar done. And it was like really cool to record that way. And the more you rewind those tapes, the more metal particles would come off the tape, and the tape would little by little get a little warmer. The top end would start to go away a little tiny bit. So by the time you get to mix it, you got to add top. Let's brighten up the guitars a little bit. Let's brighten up the drums a little bit, and then you'd get this tape compression with a beautiful, tube EQ off of one of those old mixing boards.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sound. It was really a thing. When digital came out, it came out in a couple different fashions, and one of the ones that was really popular was called the ADAT. And ADAT was an 8-track recording machine that was digital, and no matter how many times you rewound the tape on the digital, it kept the sound exactly the same. And that freaked a lot of people out because a lot of like old school engineers were used to going in the mix and adding top end where they know just where to add it because the tape was getting duller. But with
Mm-hmm.
digital, you couldn't do that. So things got a little crispy in the 90s, with stuff. But so I missed that. And you'd be working for a couple hours and somebody would go, hey, let's clean the tape heads. And you'd have to stop and take a 15-minute break while they pulled the tape off, take the alcohol on the swab and clean the tape heads and everything. And it would take a minute. And then it was like a whole thing, with the tape machine. So I missed that part of it. But now you can just move super fast.
Yeah.
That's the part.
Well, the tape is so expensive now. I know some people like to still work it. Joe Walsh had an
Yeah.
album a few years ago called
That's why
Analog
a lot of
Man.
people will say,
We're
sorry,
getting
go
some
ahead,
latency.
Randy.
That's right. It was some latency there, and I was waiting to see
Yeah.
if it would kick back in. Okay.
Well, you were saying about tape, and yeah, it's expensive, and a lot of people they'll just get one reel of tape and they'll just record through the tape machine. The sound hits the tape head, the recorder head, goes to tape, and then it goes about 3 inches and comes back off the reproduction head and comes out.
Wow.
So the sound comes in, hits the tape, comes out, and the repro head sends it to Pro Tools. So you get your tape compression, but in Pro Tools.
Ah,
So that's
so
something that people started doing, but
how long
it's
does the tape
now there's so
last?
many plugins. Well, I mean, it just gets a little duller as you roll it over and
Mm.
over, But you can use it for instead of it being, three songs or something, you can use it for like probably 10 or 20 songs maybe.
Ah,
Just keep rolling over it. Because remember, when you were making those albums on tape back in the day, you'd rewind that tape 100, maybe 1,000 times. I don't know, and
to
you'd
get
keep
to a certain
recording.
point. Yeah.
And so that's why. And every time they clean those tape heads, that's your top end coming off that tape. And
Wow.
so they would, like I said, in the mix, they'd crank it up, brighten it up a little bit, and then it would go to mastering, and they'd usually put a little more ultra top, put some
Hmm.
beautiful open high end up there that just gives it air, and it was like this,
Hmm.
thing where people who would have these stereo systems that could really hear all that stuff. Now we listen to it on our phone, digital, through Bluetooth. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
different. It's different.
There, you were going to say something about add-ons, so they're like plugins or something. Or is that what you were going to say? There's now plugins that give you
Yeah,
those same kinds of effects or feel?
similar. There's nothing like the real thing though.
Right.
It's
Agreed.
it's just like an old car that was built in the 30s or 40s. I mean, those things they didn't they didn't rust very much. It was like
Yeah.
now you get a car and in 5 years it's rusting or whatever. Now it's made out of plastic, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Those plugins are the inflatable dolls of music, I guess, right?
yeah, that would be it. That would be
You
it.
can quote me on that. It's yours to use. So,
I've never had an inflatable doll, but it's always been, it's one of those things you always think about, like, wow, what would that be like? But now they got AI
yeah,
people,
yeah.
so or like robots, that's getting a little bit like
That's
too
creepy. That's
much.
kind of like, well, remember the old movie Westworld with Yul Brynner and all that? That's kind of like that. I've never had an
Yeah.
inflatable doll, but I say that I have, and said that was the only girlfriend that took my breath away. So, I mean, so
That's it.
what have you got on the itinerary for the rest of this year?
We leave for Europe in 1 week, and we're going to be doing dates in Germany, France, Netherlands, Italy, a few other spots I forget. But we're there for a bit. We come back home. We've got festivals later in the summer that we're doing, and then we got other dates later in the year as well. But the biggest news is that we have some new music that was recorded at the same time as Light 'Em Up. That's coming
Ah,
out soon. We've got the single out right now. It's blowing up, but um, next week I believe they're going to drop a new song from a new release coming up. And so you got to tell
ah,
everybody, tell everybody check out deaddaisies.com and check out the socials a week from today, next Friday.
okay. All right. That sounds wonderful. I'll let them know. I'll probably have this. I had some changes in schedule, so I'll probably have this chat. I release everything on Wednesday mornings real early. And so this will probably be out there then. And then maybe as the new album rolls out and such, we can circle back and have another conversation about it. And you can kind of fill
I
me in
love
on
it.
what all happened on there. It'd be a lot of fun. So yeah,
It's really cool.
any stateside tours, any dates over here that's going
They're
to be
they're
happening?
they're shopping right now, but I don't know yet what's happening. But they're shopping.
Okay.
We'll be back. We'll be back around at some point. I don't know if it's this year or next year, whatever. But they're looking at scheduling right now.
Well, good deal. I hope you're somewhere near East Tennessee or thereabouts. And if so, I'm going to come and see you guys. So,
We always go there, man. It's the greatest. It's great. We love it. Love you guys.
well,
And thank you, Randy. Thanks. God bless you, brother.
all right, man. Well, until next time, stay safe and healthy. Okay.
All right, you got it, brother.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Take care. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye.
This has been another stellar episode of Boomerocity with your host, producer, and friend, Randy Patterson. The theme music is Roll the Dice by our good friend Quentin Hope, and all rights reserved and used by permission, of course. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins Productions. The Boomerocity name, logo, and content is copyright protected, so all segments may only be used with written consent by Boomerocity and or its assignees. You should direct your inquiries to input@boomerocity.com, and the copyright is 2025.